What is going on, YouTube? Welcome to another episode of Ahead of the Game Podcast. We got another instant reaction for you guys. We just had the Ravens play the Lions. Don't forget to like, subscribe, make sure those notifications are on, and let's get right into the game, man. I'm gonna take back what I said. If you guys haven't watched the video, go back and watch it. Week 1, when the Lions lost to the Packers, I said that they were going to take a step back and miss the playoffs. After watching these past 2 weeks, when they put 50 on the Bears and they just almost put 40 on the on the Ravens, excuse me. They are still the team to beat. even though they lost Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn, I don't know how, Dan Campbell does it. He lost both his coordinators and they just seem to fit right in. You know what I mean? They just seem to fit right in with what they were already doing. Looking at today's game, and yeah, I think there's still gonna be a problem. They stick to what they've been doing. They run the ball. The Detroit Lions, they run the football. They don't care who's on that offensive line, who's in the game. If you're in the game, they're gonna run the football. And their offensive coordinator called a hell of a game. And if you look at this offensive coordinator, he is almost a identical play caller to Ben Johnson. Like the stuff that they call in the office, they're the identical same play callers. They run the ball, they play action, they have a lot of wrinkles in their play calls and a lot of wrinkles in, their route concepts. And I just think week 1, was week 1, you know what I mean? And maybe I did overreact saying that they were going to take a step back and miss the playoffs because they did lose both their coordinators. But Detroit Lions are for real. I mean, now this is a different team. Usually a team has a couple good seasons, but this team is good from the top all the way to the bottom, from ownership to coaches to players. Now this is a team that is going to be good for a long time and for the foreseeable future because they have a system in place and they're always prepared for what's next. And for Dan Campbell, for him to replace, I believe they said both of their coordinators and 6 assistant coaches as well, and for them just to fit right in and basically, keep the ball moving, it says a lot for Detroit and Dan Campbell. Defensively, I think they got to Lamar 6 times. I get Lamar does not throw the ball away. He's always trying to make a play, and he holds the ball a hell of a lot. But I believe his name is Kevin or Kelvin Shepard. I'm sorry if I messed up his name, but he had a game plan. If you watch the game plan, we're QB spying him every play. We're having somebody spy you every single play. From the start of the game all the way to the finish, somebody was spying Lamar Jackson. If it was a D lineman, if it was a linebacker, if it was a defensive back, he said we are not going to let him beat us with our feet. And ultimately he didn't. I think that their big thing was to force him to pass the ball, force Lamar Jackson to pass the ball, get the ball out of Derrick Henry's hand, and put the ball in Lamar Jackson's hand. And I think they said if he beats us passing for 300-400 yards, it is what it is. They'll live with it because he is a multiple-time MVP. And the decision that you make to have him have the ball in his hand and throw the ball around the field and get the ball out of Henry's hand, you'll live with it. And I think that's what was the game plan, because there's no way you go into a game plan saying, okay, let's QB spy Lamar Jackson every play unless you're intent on stopping the run and getting the ball out of Derrick Henry's hand. And I think that they did a hell of a job tonight, man. They didn't get out. It's going to be big plays every week. They're going to give up big plays or whatever, but they were hell bent on, we're going to get the ball out of Lamar Jackson's hand. We're going to put the ball in Lamar Jackson's hand and not let Derrick Henry go off for 200 yards, because once Derrick Henry starts rolling, the goddamn Ravens are unbeatable. Let's just put it like that. And I think that he did a hell of a job game planning. And I can't say enough about Jared Goff. Jared Goff has silenced all the critics. I think he has silenced all the critics. He's making every throw. He's not making the mistakes. I think that whole ideal of him not being able to play outdoors, I think that is also gone. I mean, it's not, cold, snowing or anything like that, but I think he has silenced a lot of the critics. You make it to a Super Bowl, you're the number 1 pick, you still have to silence critics. And I just think the Detroit Lions are for real. I mean, they're probably not going to win 15 games. That's come on now, that's crazy. But they're still legit. They're still legitimate. I have to take back what I said. I said that they probably were going to take a step back and miss the playoffs, but after watching these past 2 weeks, I think that they've settled in. Johnny Morton, I believe his name, calling a hell of a play call. I think he is an identical twin to Ben Johnson in the way that they like to play call. And I think the Detroit Lions have a system to bring in new, coaches and have all these guys, steady, ready to work. For the Baltimore Ravens, this has been a reoccurring theme. Them just not finishing, man. And this wasn't one of those games where they were up and they came back. It's just like, I feel like they feel like they're the better team. And it's kind of, you could kind of see it in their demeanor. You know what I mean? That, oh, we're the better team. We're going to win just based off the strength. And that's just a reoccurring theme. I think for them, offensively, you got to get Derrick Henry going by any means necessary. I think you got to get Derrick Henry 20-plus carries. I don't think Derrick Henry can have 12 carries. I mean, the fumbles, I'm going to be honest with you, the fumbles are whatever to me. You know what I mean? It's still Derrick Henry. You're not going to put the ball in Derrick Henry's hands, but I'm not going to say it's whatever, but it's like, okay, you fumble, but then you're not going to not put the ball in his hands. You know what I mean? I feel like he needs to have the ball 20 to 25 times a game. I get you got Lamar Jackson back there. You got the MVP back there, but I feel like every team has an easier time when they can run the ball. And you got a 250-pound running back. And I just think, Lamar and Derrick Henry can coincide with each other perfectly. And for the Ravens defensively, if this is a reoccurring theme, I get Kyle Van Noy is out and Adebuke is out as well. But if they're giving up runs like this is a problem. This is a problem. They looked light in the ass today, and they just got out physical. You know what I mean? You don't really say that a lot about a Ravens team or a Ravens defense, but today they got pounded by the run, and they just looked light in the ass. And again, I don't know if it's because they were missing Van Noy and Adebuke, but they just looked out physical today. And they looked light. They looked very, very light on that in the trenches. And I don't know if this is because they were missing those two guys or what, but that's going to be a problem if they cannot stop the run and they're focused on stopping the pass. I think for the Ravens, now you're 1-2. And this is what I want to say. This season, I can see this season is going to be a weird season. You got a lot of the top teams that are already 1-2 beginning of the season, and everybody's still trying to figure it out. You got Chiefs 1-2, Ravens 1-2. Who else is 1-2? I can't even think of the other teams that are 1-2 right now, or shit, even 2-1. You know what I mean? Still just trying to figure it out. So I think this is going to be a very weird year. You got the Texans are 0-3. You know what I mean? So I think this year, I think this is going to be a very exciting year. But to go back to the Ravens, I just think the Ravens need to get it together. They're never out of it. Just like with Mahomes, you got Lamar. As long as you got 8 back there, you're always going to be in the game. And they can rattle off 7, 8, 9 straight. You know what I mean? But I think for now, if they can't stop the run, it's going to be a tough year for them. If they're just so focused on stopping the pass, which, I think they are, and I don't think 2 players are going to help them stop the run, but it would have helped them. But for them to get gashed for 200-something yards and 4 rushing touchdowns, and just watching this game, the Lions are just grinding out 98-yard drives. You don't hear that a lot with the Ravens. You don't hear the Ravens getting out physical almost ever. Going back to, the Ray Lewis, Terrell Suggs days, you never heard about the Ravens getting out physical. And today, they did. And again, it happens. You know what I mean? These are NFL players, just how you're NFL players. And again, if this is what the season is going to look like, it's going to be a big problem. Because I think, if you can keep 8 on that sideline and grind out these drives, that's going to be big for teams that's coming to Baltimore or playing Baltimore. Because as long as 8 is on that sideline, he can't score no points or he can't get the ball going offensively. And that's what the Detroit Lions did today. They had a 10-minute drive, 98-yard drive, a 95-yard drive, and was just milking that clock. And I think that's what the game plan was. Play complementary defense or team complementary, offense and defense, and that's what they did. Get stops and let's grind out this clock. And Again, offensively, I think the Ravens need to get Derrick Henry going. I think he needs 20 plus carries. Even if it's not working, Derrick Henry has always gotten going in that third and fourth quarter. No matter if he was on Tennessee, he's always gotten going in that third and fourth quarter, because who wants to continue to tackle this 250-pound running back all goddamn game? He needs 20 plus carries. Fumbles are fumbles. It happens. Mistakes happens. Players are players. It's going to happen. You know what I mean? But again, you need to get him 20 to 25 plus carries. Defensively, if they can't stop the run, it's going to be a long year. If they're just solely focused on getting to the quarterback and stopping the pass and just getting pounded, which teams are going to be looking at film, and if they see that they can't stop the run, they're going to continue to do it. For Detroit, I think Detroit is legit. Again, the Ravens are legit. They're always going to have a chance with 8. I'm not saying that. But Detroit, I think, is back from that week 1 loss, and I think they're headed back in the right direction that they were. They got these 2 coordinators bought in. They got the players bought in, and hell of a job by Dan Campbell just getting all his coaches together, all his players together, and keeping the ball rolling after you lose a Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn. So, yeah, that was my big takeaways from the game tonight. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Again, subscribe. Make sure the noties are on. And I appreciate you guys listening. On the next one.